We're going to talk about the fastest way to improve on guitar, and I suggest that there is a perfect way to do this, because I know it gets confusing when you're trying to always progress, but you don't know where to start or what to do. So I have a concept called a 5x5. This is brilliant. I can't believe I came up with this. And what it is, you have 5 techniques that you practice for 5 minutes each, hence the title 5x5. So we're going to be going through tapping like that first lick. That's neoclassical tapping, like something Beethoven would have done if he, played the 6th string and fingered the G string. We're going to be doing sweeping, picking, legato, also hybrid picking. So each of these categories has a distinct emotional characteristic. Like I mentioned, we have the neoclassical tapping, Egyptian legato. This is going to be a fun one. I'm going to use my original riff, Sea of Shadows, for DownPicking, do my best impression of Papa H-Field from Metallica, Andalusian hybrid picking, and sweep picking. So this concept comes from my brand new product on Patreon called the Lick Library. This is brilliant because, let's be honest, if you've been in this situation before, you go into a guitar lesson and the teacher says, you really need to learn the notes on the fretboard, but 99.9% of us just aren't interested. I don't give a fuck. So I have some excerpts here from my Lick Library, Opening Guitar Pro. Get the full program on Patreon. There's a free trial going on right now, 7-day free trial. This is something that's always going to be updated. I'm going to be adding to it. Now let's get to the first lick. We have neoclassical tapping. This seems to be a popular lick that you guys enjoy. And the first thing I do when I come across a lick is play it. Step 1, it's all about working your meat. And meat is an acronym for music theory or the main idea. That's step 1. Execution is the E, or technique. Assembling the parts is A, and timing is the T. And we use that, or we use the metronome, right, for timing. These are the 4 ways that you can dissect a musical passage. So number 1, music theory and the main idea. You're looking for a way to simplify what's going on by understanding the core concept. And the core concept of this lick is a simple progression in A harmonic minor. So let me get a clean channel here and I'll show you what I mean. All we have happening here is an A minor chord in the first bar, right there, and then it goes to D minor, and then it goes to E. So that is a 1-4-5 in the key of A harmonic minor. Really helpful to understand, because then you know which notes you're targeting. Now the execution is finger tapping. So we're getting our paws on the fretboard and we're tapping. So you can work on specific ways to improve your tapping skills, but that is the general idea when it comes to technique. Now, assembling the parts or using the C word chunking technique is really important. Take it down into just small parts, like maybe just the first part. That's a chunk, part of the larger whole. Another one would be there's another chunk. That really, really is a game changer instead of trying to tackle the entire thing at once. And finally, once you put the parts together, it's time to put it to the metronome, a fixed point of reference. Otherwise, you have no idea if you're actually doing it right. Let's move on to lick number 2 in this 5x5 perfect practice routine, and it's called Egyptian string skipping. This lick conjures up images of Egypt and the pyramids and the pharaohs. And here we have the main idea being the Phrygian dominant mode. The Phrygian dominant mode is the most erotic / exotic scale that exists. The chord progression that we're outlining here is E and F. Now, holy shit. Love that. It's so evil and wicked and powerful. So here in the first bar, you can see that I'm outlining those chord tones in E major, which are E, G sharp, and B. In the second phrase here, I'm outlining the tones in an F major 7 chord, which are F, A, C, and E, spelling the word face. The execution is really a combination of picking and legato, so keep that in mind. And the assembling part, chunking, just try, specific pieces of this lick, like the first 4 notes, this section, and just break it down segment by segment. Finally, timing, put it to the metronome. I was playing at 120 beats per minute, 16th notes, which isn't that fast, although this lick is pretty challenging because of all the position shifts. You're moving around a lot. Now that lick right there, I'm calling the Sea of Shadows. I was inspired by the book Moby Dick. And I got this idea of, a sound, a riff that represented the struggle of all human beings facing our fears. That's kind of the metaphor of Moby Dick, jumping into the ocean, which is a terrifying place, and fighting your nemesis, the white whale. The main idea of this riff, actually I haven't really thought about, so let's think about that. Basically, I'm doing a riff melody here. So I have a main line, and I'm tying that into some power chords. So that is the concept, and then it moves throughout a couple of different chord changes. The first line here is really just all an E minor sound, but then we kind of get into some different harmonies. There's a D chord right there, a C chord, the C word, so we're descending a bit through the minor scale. The first part of an Andalusian cadence, and then there's some chromaticism here, which is really cool. Like that. And that is also a counterpoint concept where you have a fixed tone against other moving pitches, which is called oblique motion counterpoint. The execution here is mainly downpicking, but there are some chugs going on here. So we got down, up, down there, and keep your eye open for those. There's another one. So it's like little bursts of speed to kind of work on shocking your muscle memory into playing faster. Next we have Andalusian hybrid arpeggios. This is a super cool concept. So hybrid picking is when you use your pick end of your fingers. It gives you more ability basically to reach notes that you couldn't otherwise get to. So the theory behind this exercise here is an Andalusian cadence. And the Andalusian cadence really is just descending stepwise through the minor scale. E, D, C, and B. Black Sabbath's Nib does this, Nativity in Black, and many, many other songs, not just in metal, but across a wide variety of genres. So when you're playing this, you're thinking, okay, this is an E minor. So E minor has E, G, and B in it, and I'm also adding a ninth, F sharp, or a second, if you want to think about it that way. Next bar, D, F sharp, and A. It's a sequence, it's a pattern that just repeats on different pitch levels. So we're outlining the E minor here, and then a D. And it just keeps going through the scale. So you could practice each one of those particular sections as a chunk. And then the timing there, I was playing that at 132. I have that listed here. Last lick in the 5x5 is the Andalusian Sweeps. This section here runs through an Andalusian cadence again, E minor, D, C, and B. Really gorgeous movement. And it sounds very classical. So obviously the technique here is sweep picking. So that's when you just rake your pick across the strings in one fluid motion. And we have some legato at the top. Now the chunking portion here, just take one figure at a time and rep that over and over again until you get that muscle memory going. The timing here, I was playing at 152 on the metronome. That's a pretty fast clip at 16th notes. The results are massive for a strategy like this. You expand your musical vocabulary, it covers all your bases, prevents weaknesses. It's a customizable practice routine depending on your mood. Guarantees that you're going to make progress instead of just spinning your wheels. You get proficient in the 5 techniques. You can handle anything that comes your way. It expands your improvising library. This is a big one. You generate composition ideas and equip yourself to handle any challenge.